Hey guys, it's Tyler TCG Rewind. Today I wanted to do a little video talking about a deck that I created that actually never made the cut for my website, right? This is something that I thought was pretty unique and interesting, but I just didn't feel like it was unique enough to make another hero list go on the website. But this is a deck that I actually think is kind of fun and low-key a little bit strong. I mean, I don't know if it's like meta or if it's like tier 1, but this is definitely a rogue strategy that can pay off. And this is the list I use. I need to update it for the Toronto pool. Like, I would cut these cards here, and then the Great Tornado can't be in here for Toronto. But I just played it. I never made Great Tornado, so it's not really relevant in any of the matches. But I just wanted to do, like, a deck overview. Maybe do some replay analysis of some of the games I had, just to kind of show that, hey, this deck's kind of cool. So we'll get into those games, but let me show you exactly what we're messing with here. So we got 2 Alias, 1 Stratos. Main reason for this is I just didn't want to like card clog on Alias, and we have Gemini Lancer, which is another Gemini, so that means we have a decent amount of targets for Gemini Spark. I really like Gemini Lancer for a couple reasons. It has synergy around this card, which, like, all of these really tie to Codaris, right? So Codaris is the main thing that made me interested in this card, and where I think there's some viability. This card's been around for a while, but it's basically, the root of its effect is you can send 1 face-up Yuumi you can control to the graveyard, target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, send those targets to the graveyard. So it's a 1 for 2, which I think is really cool. But also, the key thing about this card is it's not once per turn. The other keyword is send up to 2 cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. So yeah, so you're sending those 2 instead of destroying. So like against TGs or even like recruiters, you just out them for free by getting rid of them. And it's not once per turn, so like I said, so you can activate multiple Legendary Ocean in the same turn and send them. So there's a lot of really weird synergies with the hero engine and this deck, and that's why I kind of wanted to showcase it. So we obviously are running Codaris, and then to supplement it, we have 3 Legendary Ocean, 3 Warrior of Atlantis. This is just a 1900 beater that also has the effect. It doesn't have like a destruction clause where it dies if it doesn't have, if you don't have a Legendary Ocean on the field. But with the field spell, it's 21. Without the field spell, it's a 1900 beater that, can either choose to be used as like a normal summon or used as a way to search the Legendary Ocean. So kind of a win-win. You basically just use it to search if you have Codaris, and if you don't, then you can just use it as a monster. It's pretty versatile. And then we have Forgotten Temple of the Deep. So this card basically gives all your monsters that are like Aqua or Sea Serpent a pseudo wind-up rabbit effect. It's like, so it says, while this card's on the field, its name becomes Yuumi. So you can send this card to the grave for Codaris effect to pop 2 cards on the field. But also, once per turn, you can target 1 level 4 lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster you control, banish that target. During your end phase, special summon the monster is banished by this effect. So you can basically use this as like a way to chain to stuff. So like, let's say you normal summon out like Gemini Lancer, or normal summon a Codaris even, they torrential. You can chain Forgotten Temple of the Deep, banish it, and it'll come back during your end phase. The one thing that I think is really, like, it sucks that it comes back during your end phase, because you have to be able to protect it still, which you can technically just infinitely banish until you out whatever monster your opponent has. The one thing that sucks is if they space this card, then you lose the monster, so it's a little jank. But one of my favorite uses for this card is if you activate Legendary Ocean and you normal summon Codaris and declare priority, sending the Legendary Ocean, if they Veiler, you can chain this card to banish the Codaris so that the Codaris will still resolve, which I think is really, really cool, and it basically forces that removal. And you're going to kind of see in my replays that this removal is actually pretty impactful, and it's super relevant. Like, this card enables you to out boards that you really otherwise, most decks wouldn't really ever be able to out. So yeah, that's kind of the core concept of it. And then obviously, since they're all waters, we got the Miracle Fusions, we got the Absolute Zeros. That's kind of the goal. That's what we're trying to do. So yeah, I just wanted to go over the deck a little bit, and without any further ado, let's hop into those games. All right, so first off, we're losing the die roll, of course, naturally. That's what we do. Ended up going second. Lovely subscriber, fan of the channel. Good, love to see it. They're playing some Machina Gadgets. Machina Gadgets isn't too common or meta, but it's kind of nice getting to play a little jank v jank. I don't think this deck is super bad by any means, that's for sure. So yeah, I start out, and I kind of thought that was cool. I was able to use a legendary ocean to proc the Gear Town, giving him his monster, but I killed the Gear Town for free, and now Codaris can just clear it. So we'll kind of see that all go through. I just target both monsters, and I get to swing in for 14. Set a D prison. They are on gadgets. And this was also really nice. They summoned out the fortress, and I was able to just deprison it away. Yeah, you can kind of see that they made a board, and they kind of got punished for it. We got to kind of hold down the fort a bit. They went for a damage step limiter, which doesn't really accomplish much. And I just kind of get to maintain board control. So I duality'd, and I got Warrior of Atlantis as well as the Legendary Ocean. So I just went ahead and activated the Warrior of Atlantis to search because I have another copy of Codaris, so I feel safe doing that. I swing in because they can't Gores. And then I get to set my Gemini Spark. So yeah, my opponent's kind of forced to use Pot of Avarice. Doesn't really have a lot of other plays to make. Which honestly feels kind of bad for them because they're not really accomplishing very much. They space their own Gear Town to get a monster on board, but I can just spark it. I go ahead and nab the Miracle because, you know, I feel pretty confident about my current board state. I swing in, they drop that. I need to attack the token. But the Gores really just doesn't feel like a crazy huge concern for me. So now, this is a weird spot because he was holding back row, like he really wasn't setting a lot of back row. And so I was like under the assumption that at least one of these was a bluff, which is where I kind of misplay because I was like, there's no shot that all three of these are relevant. So I knew, like, if they warning the Codaris, hey, I got Miracle Fusion, which is kind of cool. But I wanted to just kind of see if I could bait a back row here because he's at 300. So I was like, well, I'll just attack into the green gadget. That seems smart. And of course, they blew Compulse. So at this point, I'm thinking, I have a Gemini Spark. I think it might make most sense to just try to go for a Shining here because I can like cycle back my monsters. I can put this up to defend my board and then cycle back my monsters if they have like some form of destruction, which would be like possible. In hindsight though, with this last back row, it's definitely smarter to just go absolute zero. That way if they out it, I wipe their board and I'm still just massively far ahead in card advantage. Because yeah, they just had the bottomless, which I just did not see coming. So that was a misplay on my part, and I just kind of had to pass. I still am in an okay position in this game, I think. Take a lot of damage, but then they make Roach, which is a really odd choice because Roach doesn't really accomplish anything. Luckily, I get Codaris and then have priority to just send these two to the grave. So I'm thinking, if this isn't live, then I just win. He has the book, unfortunately, so we just set one. And we hit game. So again, I definitely misplayed a bit. I 100% should have just made absolute zero. It was such a better play. But like I said, I just wasn't really expecting him to have 3 live back row after not setting anything almost all game. So going to siding, going to game 2. And again, we open a really versatile hand that's like feels pretty responsive to what they can do. Like, they even open Starlight Road, and it's just, like, useless because we get to send cards from the field to the grave. So they set a bunch of back row. I activate the Legendary Ocean, and I know that I got to clear that Gear Town, so I just give it to him because I can just tribute this off. And then he compulses his own Galvatron, which I don't really understand. It definitely doesn't feel like the play. I think you're much better off just compulsing the gear frame, but I'm forced to Dark Hole. Puts me under Rivalry, which like really just doesn't accomplish anything because I can just kind of sit here on these cards. I was setting the Judgment so I could try to make a push with Miracle Fusion later, but it just really didn't matter. I had the Cyber Dragon, but I actually wanted to hold it because I wanted to like play around if they summon a big machine monster. This was my best out to it. But yeah, then they Judgment my Miracle Fusion, and I was just able to Monster Reborn their Galvatron. And now it's just a matter of time before I can just like win this game. This duality doesn't matter while he has Rivalry on board. It, like nothing matters. But yeah, it's just a quick 2-0 with this deck. So yeah, kind of interesting, right? Like again, I don't think my opponent played 100% perfectly, but I do think this deck actually, you know, it kind of had a lot of outs to a lot of situations, right? Which I thought was really cool. So pretty fun game. We'll hop into another one. I played another one, which, you know, you might have caught this one on stream, but if not, you know, hopefully this is your first time seeing it. So this next game is against some random, you know, some piss rand never heard of before, but he's playing his own homebrew. We were both playing, again, a little jankier stuff, but busting out a like fairy Lightsworn build that kind of like turbos out Christia, and I'm, you know, of course still on my Codaris boy. Just kind of starting off with a standard hero start, looking for the Stratos. And this feels really good because he has a Raikou set. I didn't know what he was playing, so I just like swung into the Raikou, and this felt really, really good. It was like, oh, nice. Just kill the Raikou for free. So then we set the Mirror Force, we pass. He end phase brings back Christia, and luckily he didn't summon Lila. He just summoned Jane and attack, so I got a pretty max value Mirror Force there. I reborn the Stratos, and I'm like, okay, I gotta make Roach, and I figured if I set this warning, I can protect it. I swung in with the Roach, knowing that if he had Raikou, that he would have to pop it. Unfortunately, he just had a lot of stuff here, which was a bit difficult. But again, like most decks, if this resolves, aren't outing this, and I was able to use Codaris effect on the Forgotten Temple to literally clear 3 cards, which felt really incredible. But unfortunately, the BLS plus the Christia felt like a bit much. We ripped the Shining, but then I get Black Rosed. And I'm gonna take a lot of damage here. Ironically, this is really critical here. I actually think I'm in a very winning position as long as he doesn't mill a wolf. And naturally, off of the Gareth, he mills the wolf. So it actually puts me in a bit of a tough spot because I have nothing that can just swing over this. But otherwise, I actually have board control just by summoning Alias and attacking over the Lumina. And yeah, after that, I ripped the Torrential, and I'm like, okay, no way do I survive. He's not going to play into it, so pretty sure. I guess I just gamble to see if he plays into it, but yeah, he does. So he picks the smart play, so I scoop game 1. Yeah, we decided not to side just because it was just a for fun match, but I go in, I duality for duality because none of that really looked all that appealing, and I just pass because most of my hand here is very reactive, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, do I really want to set Solemn Judgment Starlight Road? Not really. You know, like, there's no value to it. So I was like, okay, if I just do nothing, I might bluff a Gorse and make him play kind of awkward. So that was my approach. And then we finally hit a monster, so I could actually, like, swing over and react to what he had going on, which was just an Aaron. Yeah, so it goes for a Lumina play. I get the Codaris. I get to take out all of these other cards here and swing over the Lumina. Luckily didn't get heralded there because I think that would have been pretty impactful. He summons, rips JD, summons it, I get to Starlight Road, and then I get a Judgment on his BLS into a Miracle Fusion play. So I'm like, okay, I just swing in for 16 each. And then no matter what, I just get to out this Gores if he has it, otherwise it's just game. I make the Roach so he can't really play the game. And I think, yeah, I was actually forced to crash the Gores. He's at 27 because of Legendary Ocean. And I didn't want him to out my Roach, because Roach I felt like was the only way that I could lose if I lost it. So yeah, now going second, we grab ourselves the monster we needed. We got the Stratos, which outs the Raikou again, so that feels really good. And he swings in directly for 18. I got a phone call in the middle of this. Let's see. We got to resume play, okay? So let's see. We got the Call the Haunted, the Forgotten Temple, the Deep set. Pretty bad sets, if I'm being honest. Call the Haunted, back Stratos in the end phase, so we can get another hero search. Just get another summon. I think I'm trying to hit Roach if possible. I really didn't expect the Tragodia summon, and I just like kind of showed my hand that I had D-Prison. I was like, I have to stick this Roach, because I was just so afraid of getting like BLS or something here, especially with like no negation in my back row. So we swing in, do some decent damage. We got the Forgotten Temple, the deep set to protect Codaris if they try to go in. I don't think there was enough fairies for the Christia, and even then it doesn't matter because it's Christia. And we got the Roach. So Dave sets the Plague Spreader, passes back over to me. At this point I'm feeling pretty confident. And I just used the Codaris to send the card, assuming it was Raikou, and we take the game right there. So another match won with this deck. Again, playing against some jankier stuff, so does it speak that, hey, this is like a really OP deck? No, but this card is really interesting, and you know, maybe some of you guys would like to experiment with it. Just wanted to showcase my logic with the list, and honestly, doesn't feel like it's performing all that bad. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this deck, and you know, if you want to give it a shot yourself, maybe ways to improve it. But thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and have a great time doing today.